Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna Ram Rama Hare Hare Jayo Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe जयो कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जयो कृष्ण बलराम जयो राधे श्याम ललिता विशाखादि राधे श्याम ललिता विशाखादि राधे श्याम जयो वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जयो वृंदावन धाम ललिता विशाखादि वृंदावन जयो गौरानिताय 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 जयो गौरानिताय जयो जयो प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जयो प्रभुपाद हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale. Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatiruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's discussion of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from Canto 8, Chapter 3, titled as Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, and we are reading from verse number 26. Soham Vishvashrajam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam. Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Pranatosmi Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam. Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam. Mataji. Soham Vishvam Srijam Vishvam Avishvam Vishvavedasam Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam. Mataji. Soham Vishvasrijam Vishvam Ajam Brahma Vishvatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Param Padam. Saha, that, aham, I, the person desiring release from material life, Vishvasrijam, unto he who has created this cosmic manifestation, Vishvam, who is himself the whole cosmic presentation, Avishvam, although he is transcendental to the cosmic manifestation, Vishvavedasam, who is the knower or ingredient of this universal manifestation, Vishva Atmanam, the soul of the universe, Ajam, who is never born, eternally existing, Brahma, the Supreme, Pranatasmi, I offer my respectful obeisances, Param, who is transcendental, Padam, the shelter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Now, fully desiring release from material life, I offer my respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Person who is the creator of the universe, who is himself the form of the universe, and who is nonetheless transcendental to this cosmic manifestation. He is the supreme knower of everything in this world, the super soul of the universe. He is the unborn, supremely situated Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Purport. Sometimes when Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness, is preached to the common man, people argue, where is Krishna? Where is God? Can you show him to us? In this verse, the answer is given that if we are sufficiently intelligent, we must know that there is someone who has created the entire cosmic manifestation, who has supplied and has become the ingredients of this cosmic manifestation, who is eternally existing but who is not within the cosmic manifestation. Simply on the basis of this suggestion, one can offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord. This is the beginning of devotional life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishna Vamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Yam pravrajantam anupeta krityam anupetamapeta krityam dvaipayana viraha katara ajuhava putretit tanmayataya taravo bhinedo stham sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. It's very cold and rainy outside, and as soon as I entered the temple, it was quite warm. It's due to the warmth of the devotees. So I take permission from all the assembled Vaishnavas and the senior Vaishnavas to speak a few words for my own purification. Now, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, no matter how much we glorify Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, there is more to be glorified that is remaining actually. And we are not reading Bhagavatam just because, ISKCON is trying to preach Bhagavatam everywhere. No, Bhagavatam has been commented by various acharyas. In fact, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the only Vedic literature that has been seriously and overly commented for the last probably 1,500 years. That is the magnanimity of this literature. And why is it so? Because Bhagavatam itself elucidates in the second verse, Sadhyo hridya varudhyate kritibhis tatskshanat. Sadhya means very quickly. What will happen? Sadhya hridi, in your heart. What will happen in your heart? Avarudhyate. Avarudhyate means the Lord will manifest in our hearts very quickly. Tat kshanat. Kritibihi tat kshanat. This is the beauty of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Whoever approaches Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, very quickly it approaches. I remember yesterday after the Bhagavatam class, a person was asking, many of the things in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is incomprehensible. It is for the mundane mind, because we are conditioned by the mundane existence around us. But Bhagavatam is trying to approach us, but it approaches us with transcendental facets, transcendental facts. But so it's very difficult for us to comprehend. So we cannot bring down the philosophy of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to the mundane existence very easily. So, but we still have to elevate ourselves to understand what Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is trying to say. And this is also the pedagogy. Pedagogy means the method of teaching. Bhagavatam has its own way of teaching things. Because if you go to many schools, every school, every teacher has his own pedagogy. He has his own methodology of teaching. But the intent of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the pedagogy of any teaching, there has to be a goal defined. And what is the goal of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? To understand Krishna, because the subject matter is Krishna. That is the goal of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Sadhyo hridya varudhyatetra kritibihi. So janmadyasya yatonvayat itaratas chartheshva abhigna swarat. So we are trying to understand that abhigna. So therefore, in this episode right now, we are reading about a troubled elephant. We all have watched National Geographic and Discovery Channel. I don't know how many of you watch these days, but when I was young, I used to watch. And most of the times, they show a lot of animals, especially animals such as elephants and crocodiles fighting against each other. Crocodiles, Australia is famous for crocodiles as well. Crockies, they say. Now, although they are also showing us the animals, what are they trying to show us most of the time in these channels? About these animals? Conflict, yes. It's basically related to ahara, nidra, bhayam, maithunamsa. It is eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Where do the animals live? What do the animals eat? How do they survive? Sorry, Prabhuji. They are hungry, and how do they hunt for food? So that's all. That's all in all of these variety of species. And why people are excited? Just because of the variety of information that they give us. This bird does like this animal does like this. Now, take the same camera and focus it on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Bhāgavatam is also explaining something. Now think about it. In the jungle, there are a lot of fights and conflicts going on. A tiger or a lion attacks an elephant. A crocodile attacks an elephant. So many things are going on in the jungle. Bhāgavatam is also talking about the same fight. Is it not? A crocodile is attacking an elephant, and we all know the pastime. It's simple. It's attack the elephant. Elephant dies. Crocodile dies. The Lord comes, liberates. The story is finished. But one has to contemplate, if you take a larger picture in context, where is Bhagavatam spoken? To whom is Bhagavatam spoken? Parikshit Maharaj. How many days he has to survive? Now think about it. Parikshit Maharaj is 7 days, and Shukadeva Goswami is showing Discovery Channel to him. It's not. It cannot be like that, is it not? It's just not a mundane conflict between an elephant and a crocodile. Apparently, it seems as it is. Why does Vyasadeva take so much effort to write the poem or a poem that Gajendra is explaining and elucidating to glorify the Lord, and Srila Prabhupada has spent his lifeblood translating this in English for us? There has to be something. It has to be something more than what our channels really tries to allude to, is it not? There has to be something more. And this is what we have to understand. And that more is because this is related. The conflict is related to the subject matter. And the subject matter here is, the Vishaya Vastu is Krishna. The Ashraya Tattva is Krishna. We have to take shelter of Krishna. Therefore, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam uses all this pedagogy to use an elephant, and it uses an elephant to say a prayer towards the Lord. This is amazing, actually. Now an elephant is praying, and we are actually assembled to hear the prayers of an elephant. It's amazing, isn't it? We are also in the parampara of the Discovery Channel, but Bhagavatam's Discovery Channel. And as we have said, there are so many conflicts going on in the jungle. They say jungle is a place where everything is a jungle. Even this modern city also is a jungle. Here, Dvaipada Pashus are found, two-legged animals. Now, in the jungle, there is always a conflict. There is always a conflict. You observe with a microscope, even inside the grass, you will see one insect eating the other insect. Jivo jivasya jivanam. This is the stark reality of this material world. But here the conflict becomes important because this conflict has to do with the invocation of the help that the elephant is asking to come. Who is that help? The Supreme Lord. Because he has started. And when this episode is taken, I'm just taking a prelude before we go to today's verse, so please bear with me. Gajendra has started praying initially, Purushayadi Bijaya, Para Ishaya Abhidhimahi. Now when this conflict was going on, where was this conflict happening? It was happening on the banks of which ocean? Ocean of milk. Milk ocean. Now all of a sudden when we say milk ocean, our modern minds will think, it's just a Aesop's fable now. There's an ocean of milk. Now think about it. If we were not familiarized with an ocean full of salt, we wouldn't have questioned this. You know, if we were on another planet and if we were conditioned like that, you know, there is a planet called Earth and there is an ocean full of salt, sodium chloride. And actually modern scientists do not know how there is so much salt in the ocean. They say, oh, that's because of the minerals that got collected in the ocean, blah, blah, blah. Even though the rivers are unabatedly flowing into the ocean, the salinity of the ocean does not reduce. It's amazing, is it not? If you have a jug of water, you pour 2 spoons of salt, mix it, and keep pouring water, what happens? Does the saltiness of the water reduce or not? It does, you know, but ocean doesn't reduce because the rivers are flowing continuously. The salt content has not reduced. Ask the scientists, we are researching. We will come to that point one day. They do not know. So in the same way, there can be a place which has a milk ocean or an ocean of honey, an ocean of mango nectar. We do not know at this point in time. So it is only a leap of faith we can understand that there may be a position. The problem is Bhagavatam says, at least be open to the possibility. At least say, I don't know. You know, that is called open to the possibility. You don't say, no, it can't be true. No, we will say it can be true. We do not know. So that is what we have to understand. Now, let us step into the scenario now. What has happened? It is spoken about one king elephant, Gajendra, Gaja Indra. Indra means the king, Gaja means the elephant. There are so many words that is used in Sanskritam to denote an elephant. Gajendra, Hastin or Hati or Gaja or Ibha. There is another word called Ibha. Which is used for explaining the elephant. It all started in the Trikuta mountain. Trikuta means a mountain has 3 peaks. And I'll tell you why Bhagavatam tells all of this. Why the extra scenery is required when we are talking of the prayers. Gajendra's entry, when Gajendra entered into this pastime, when Vyasadeva started explaining this cosmic manifestation, how did Gajendra entered? Tatraikada tad girikananashrayah karenu bhirvarana pascharan sakantakam kichakavenu vetravad vishala gulmam parujan vanaspatim. Tatra ekada tad girikananashrayah. This elephant, there was one elephant who had taken the shelter of a place, because a place is to be considered to be a very important point in our sadhana. Because when we do sadhana, the place where we do sadhana also becomes very important. Because that place, the Lord has put us in a specific place for a specific reason. And that place can be augmented, it can augment us in our sadhana to progress in our devotional service. And for this elephant, this place was chosen by the Lord. Who was this elephant in his past life? Indra, and he was cursed, is it not? Now that curse is actually not a curse, because when the acharyas curse, that curse actually is a blessing. So he is given a body of an elephant, and from the body of an elephant he gets delivered. You see? So it was actually not a curse, it was a blessing. But that for that blessing, a place had to be chosen. And the place happened to be Trikuta mountain. and he has taken the ashraya of that mountain. Just like now, we have taken the ashraya of Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir. We have taken the ashraya of this temple, which our acharyas and the disciples of Srila Prabhupada has established. And how did he enter? Sakantakam kichaka venu vetravad vishala gulmam parujan vanaspatin. How did he enter? He entered, you know how elephants enter? Last year, we had gone on a safari, a tiger safari, in a place called Bandipur, near Mysore. I don't know how many of you been to Bandipur? It's a tiger sanctuary. And it's an open safari. You can go in an open jeep, and if you're lucky, you'll spot a tiger, but if you're unlucky, you'll only spot elephants and other animals. And we were seeing the elephants. Most of the elephants were very thin because there was no, the forest had not gone rain. 2023, lack of rain. And you know how blessed we are as humans sometimes. We get water all the time from the taps. The animals, the wild animals are not like that. They completely depend on nature. And because there was no rain, there was not enough grass for the elephants, and so they were all thin and bony. And I asked the jeep driver, why are they so thin? That's because there's not enough food for the elephants. So they sustain some. That's why elephants move in herds searching for grass. They keep moving, and they think they've attacked the fields, and they attack because they can't find enough grass to eat, because we have impeded in their lands, or we have taken over their lands. So, this elephant has entered. How did it enter? So one elephant, the reason why I mentioned that was, we were observing an elephant, and there were two elephants feeding on the grass. And I don't know if it got disturbed because the engine was still on, and because the engine was disturbing, because it's forest. The forest is a place where the elephants live, and we have gone into that place. The elephant got annoyed, and you know what it did? It just looked at us, and it marched 5 steps. It just it came, and it did like this, you know. And that's it. It was probably 10 feet away from us, but it just did like that. It's quite fearful when you see such a large animal march towards you. And that's what Gajendra was doing. He just was marching with rabhasa, with force. And when he was moving, Sakantakam kichaka venu vetravad. Venu is bamboo. Krishna's flute also is made from Menu. He was just pushing all the thorns, the venu, and all of that, the bamboos aside, and he was marching. Now, why is this important? This is important because Vyasadeva is trying to teach us a lesson. There's a proverb in English, make hay while the sun shines. Have you heard of that? What does it mean? Make the most of the favorable situation. That's what it means in one sense. When things are going all hunky-dory, in Aussie accent, Aussie words, when things are all going nice in our lives, we automatically become very confident. This is human nature or animal nature as well. And then, when we have weaker followers around us, same is happening with Gajendra, all the animals were so afraid of him, and because they were afraid of him, and some weaker animals were following him, his heart was beating with pride. Hey, I have the strength. I have the power. And he was marching. He was marching and destroying everything against, and he was marching in search of, when the elephants and his family and relatives were following him, he was exuberating this confidence. And Krishna allows us to make hay while the sun shines. And during that time, usually the jiva has a tendency to beat his false ego. Look how powerful I am. Look how confident I am. And what gives us this confidence? Because things are going on nice in our life. So Krishna gives every jiva this opportunity to enjoy. Okay, you enjoy. So Gajendra also is having his nice time now. Very soon, Krishna will show what will happen. So that is why we have to be very important that when somebody is making hay while the sun is shining, when things are going very nice, we have to remember what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadesha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhakti ahaituki tvai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. One should always aspire bhaktir ahaituki tvai. The only thing I aspire is to do causeless devotional service to you, my dear Lord. I don't want anything else. So that this keeps us, our pride and false ego at check. So we have to apply these teachings. So here, coming back, now Gajendra was making hay. And I'm just coming to our today's verse, but we have to see where the turning point happened. He was all of a sudden, this strongest elephant in the forest felt what? Very strong. He was pushing all the bamboos. And then suddenly what did he feel? Thirsty. Parikshit Maharaj, such a strong emperor. For a moment he felt thirsty. The Lord can humble us just by one single act, thirst. And when we are in a position where we don't get what we want, our real nature comes out. Just meditate on this for a while. When we do not get what we want, it is only then when our real nature comes out. What did Parikshit Maharaj do? Of course, Parikshit Maharaj is an exalted personality, but it is a leela that the Lord covered his intelligence and made him do the kritya, what he did. What did he do? Just put a dead snake. It was not a very big thing, but still, considering the position of Parikshit Maharaj, it was not a good thing to do. But he still picked up the the dead snake and garlanded the rishi, Shamika rishi. Now, similarly, Gajendra also has got thirsty. Now, he could smell gulmam, he could smell the flowers, the lotuses from the Sarovara. So he then marches towards, there is a beautiful lake, and in a hot sunny day, there's nothing like going to a lake and drinking its cool waters. So he entered the lake and started drinking the water. Till now, it's all good. But then what happened? As soon as his thirst had quenched, what happened? Sapushkareno dhrita shikaram bubhir nipayan samsnapayan yatha grihi ghrini karenu karabhamscha durmada nachashta krichram kripano jamayaya. This is a very important verse to understand. What was the turning point? Why did the crocodile attack? What happened there? Gajendra was drinking water. All good. Nature provides water. There's nothing wrong, is it not? But after he drank the water, his thirst was quenched. Right? So what happens? Psychology again. Once you get what you want, then what did he do? He looked at the female elephants, picked up some water and sprinkled on them. Hey, I'm still the king. Now thirst is quenched, right? Now he's come back to his making hay while sun shines. I'm the king, and he's trying to pour water. In that water, until he was drinking the water, the crocodile, who was the resident of that place, did not do anything. He was fine. Okay, they've come to drink water from my place, all good. But now this is too much. Now this guy is sporting, and he thinks this is my kingdom. He's not the king of this place. I am. I rule this place. This is what the crocodile is thinking. So, sa pushkarena dhrita shikaram bhubhir nipayan samsnapayan yatha grihi. Vyasadeva opens up stark reality. Generally, when we compare humans to strength, whom do we compare to? As strong as a elephant. As fierce as a... It's interesting, is it not? We say animals are low class, but when we talk of certain qualities, we always compare it to the animals. As intelligent as a... No, you don't know that. As human, of course. As strong as an elephant, as fierce as a lion. But this verse, Vyasadeva writes, Nipayayan samsnapayan yatha grihi. This elephant is sprinkling water on its she-elephant like a grihastha. To criticize the elephant, Vyasadeva says, now this elephant is behaving like humans. When things are going good, now it's forgotten that this is not the place to enjoy. Get out of the water. You have drunk the water, get out. Don't, what is it? It's called as flirting, flirtatious. The elephant is trying to be flirtatious there. With the women, she-elephants and his family, and to exuberate his king's dominance, you see. So here, yatha grihi, grini karenu karabhamscha durmado. Here, Vyasadeva writes that, Prabhupada translates that when he's sprinkling the water, it is trouble. He's taking trouble to sprinkle water on the elephants. It is trouble. Krichram. Yet, he's thinking it's not a trouble. Why? Because durmado kripanan ajamayaya. In this material life, when a karmi, when we work hard to maintain this family. And that working hard, even though the saliva is coming out of our mouths, we find it very pleasing, is it not? Going to work, office is very hard. We have to work very hard to earn a living. And yet it is very pleasing for us. Why? Because we are attached to bringing up the family. Because of that durmada, because of the attachment to the family, we think that hard effort is nice. Without realizing that krichran, nachashta krichan kripano jamayaya, where we have to invest our efforts, we are not investing there, but we invest even though if it is difficult to maintain this body and the expansions of the body, because of that attachment, we become kripana. And the same thing is here. The elephant is acting like humans because it is now attached to its family and relatives of it being an elephant. So, now the turning point happens. That is why, what does the crocodile do? Tam tatra kaschin nripadaiva chodito graho baliyam charane rushagrahit yadrichayaivam vyasanam gato gaja yatha balo balam soti balavichakrame. A very interesting thing happens. There are so many elephants which have entered the lake. You all agree? They're all drinking water from the lake. Now, among so many elephants, there is a crocodile which decides to attack the elephants so imagine the crocodile inside the water. You have to think you're underwater now. And underwater you will see only legs of the elephants. Correct? Now among all those hundreds of elephants, it had to go and catch hold of this particular guy, elephant Gajendra. How is that possible? Vedavyasa writes, Daiva chodito. Because it was the desire of the Lord that particular elephant had to be attacked. Sometimes we lament, why it is only happening to me? Because it is Daiva choditaha. Yadrichhaivam, yadricha, the acharyas translate, yadrichhaya means yata ichhaya, sa yadrichhaya means it is his ichha, it is his desire. There is no word for coincidence in Sanskritam. There is no word called coincidence. There is no word at all. Can you give me an equivalent word of coincidence? Yadrichhaya. But what is yadrichhaya? The etymology is yata ichhaya iti yadrichhaya. Yata ichhaya means his desire. Therefore it is not coincidence. It is his desire. Everything that happens in this existence is only because of his desire. There is nothing that is happening without his desire. Prabhupada translates the word as the will of providence. That means will of Krishna. So, therefore, now, because as if it is the desire of the Lord, the crocodile has caught hold of Gajendra's feet. So that is where we are at. Now, before we proceed to today's verse, I want to tell one more thing. Why are we even studying Gajendra's prayers? You know, the Phalashruti of this prayer is discussed in the next chapter, where the Lord himself glorifies these prayers. Once the Lord comes, the Lord says, Ye mam tvam sacharaschedam girikandara kananam vetra kichaka venunam gulmani surapadapan ye mam sthuvantyane pratibudhya nishatya ye tesham pranatya ye chaham dadami vipulam gatim. This is Sri Bhagavan Vacha. The Lord is saying, Ye mam tvam sarascha idam, ye mam tvam. The Lord is saying, whoever remembers me and you, Gajendra, this is after he has liberated Gajendra. It is important to know actually why we are reading these prayers, the significance, because Gajendra's prayers are very, very important. Why? Because there is a Phalashruti that the Lord himself is giving. The Lord says, Ye mam tvam cha sarascheda idam. Means, whoever remembers you and me, Gajendra, and what? Not only Gajendra, Saras. What is Saras? Sarovara. The lake where you drank the water from. Imagine, the Lord is saying, whoever remembers that lake where you drank the water from, Giri Kandara Kananam. Not only the lake, the Giri, the Trikuta mountain, Giri Kandara Kananam, Vetra Kichaka Venunam. The thorns that you squashed, the bamboo plants that you uprooted, the path that you walked, all of this, whoever remembers, immediately their sins will be erased. Krishna is saying this. Vishnu says this is the Phalashruti of remembering. Therefore, Vyasadeva takes the difficulty to explain of explaining the situation, because as humans it is helpful for us as sadhakas. The reason is because we have a problem. Our problem is we collect impressions. In our life, when we are going around, we collect impressions. And what impressions we collect? Anything that we like too much or anything we dislike too much. These are the two impressions that strongly come and sit in our consciousness. When Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is studied, when Vyasadeva is explaining about the Venu, Vetra, Kichaka, when the elephant is moving, when we imagine this scenario, and when these form our impressions, and when we remember the lake that is connected to Gajendra, then our sins will get destroyed. So why is it? Because Gajendra is who? Because Gajendra is a devotee of the Lord. So even if you remember this marble flooring, even if we remember the board, the pillar, the painting, the chandelier, we will get liberated. Maybe we might not even remember Radha Vallabh's face or his lotus feet. Imagine when we are leaving our body, we remember the chandelier. We will get liberated because this is connected to Radha Vallabh's temple. This is the promise of Krishna. Because it is connected to Krishna. It is connected to the devotees. Even if we see some devotee when we are passing away, we will get liberated. Because he is connected to Krishna in some way. This is why Krishna glorifies. And then Krishna says in the Phalashruti in 8.4.25, Ye mam stuvanti anenanga, ye mam stuvanti. Whoever recites, stuvanti means who recites these prayers of Gajendra, anena anga. This is Vyasadeva explaining to Parikshit Maharaj. Pratibuddhya, beautiful word. Pratibuddhya means what, you know? Pratibuddhya means? Pratibuddhya means intelligence, right? In this context, it is waking up. Whoever wakes up in the morning, the word used is pratibuddhya. Please keep that word in your mind. This is very relevant to the verse we are studying today. We will come to it. Pratibuddhya nishatyaya. Nisha means what? Night. Nishachara prani we see, right? Nisha atyaya means who finishes the night. One who wakes up at the end of the night. Pratibuddhya nishatyaye. Tesham pranatyaye cha aham. Whoever recites this early in the morning or when he is finished sleeping or when he has woken up from not only deep slumber but woken up to real realization that he is not the body. Therefore Pratibuddhya makes sense. Pratibuddhya nishatyaye tesham pranatyaye. Prana means what? When the life is ending. Tesham, when the life is ending, when whoever remembers this when the night ends, for him when the life ends during the time of death, pranatyaye cha aham. What does Krishna do when he remembers mam stuvanti, when he remembers the prayers of Gajendra Moksha? Tesham vipulam gatim. I will give him liberation at the end of this. He will be liberated. I will take him to the abode where there is transcendence. This is the promise Krishna says. Why? Because it is related to Gajendra, who is a great devotee. That's why it is very important to understand. Now, I'll just deviate a little bit and come back to today's verse. Many times, related to one person's asking a question yesterday, how do we even understand these pastimes of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? How do we comprehend it? I remember from my experience, I had a great penchant for studying scriptures for one thing.
because I had watched a movie called Back to the Future. I don't know how many of you know the movie. But I had deep interest that there must be something in the scriptures which explains time travel. Until I read Brahma Vimohana Leela from Srila Prabhupada, I had not understood it deeply. If you read Brahma Vimohana Leela, scientists and astrophysicists are barging about time travel, existence of parallel worlds, time dilation. You know what's a time dilation? Time dilation means the difference of time in different existence of the universes. You see? And that's exactly what happens in Brahma Vimohana Leela. When Brahmaji steals the calves and the gopas and puts them in another universe, by the time they bring him back, 1 year has passed on earth. You see, there is a difference of, there are parallel worlds, there is time dilation, and there are things happening at different paces at different universes. Where is it written? In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Is it not scientific? That's it. So now science has come to the point of understanding time dilation and parallel worlds. Bhagavatam has been commented for the last 1500 to 2000 years old at least, from our modern history perspective. So we have already spoken about parallel worlds and time dilation, or difference of time in different worlds. So therefore, we just have to understand that Bhagavatam is scientific. And we should not take any sandwich-eating scientists who sit on a table and theorize the universe. Sandwich, that word sandwich again was a googly for me, because why is sand and which sand? Why is bread called sand and which? I did not understand. Until I understood there was a guy in the US, UK, he was a nobleman who used to eat beef between a bread because he wanted to gamble. And he did not have time to sit and eat. So he used to eat bread with beef. And because he was an earl of a place called Sandwich, that's where the sandwich name came. And sometimes we call Krishna Prasadam as sandwich because of this beef eating guy. So I have a habit of trying to understand where words came from. So that's how word sandwich came, in case you did not know. Because I was wondering, why is there sand in the bread? Okay. Now come back to the today's verse. Soham Vishwasrijam Vishwam Avishwam Veda Vishwa Vedasam Vishwatmanam Ajam Brahma Pranatosmi Parampadam. In the previous verse, Gajendra has asked, now he's at a point, because he's now come to the realization. Now we are all very happy because Bhagavatam has compared Gajendra to us. Is it not? He's like humans. But we have to understand, are we like Gajendra? We are not, because he remembered the Lord at the time of death. He remembered. Right when he understood, now there were so many elephants, you see. The Shastras say, when life is going away, our own people lift their heads like the camel. When you try to put a thread on a rope on the camel's head, the camel lifts its head up. In the same way, when life is passing away, our own people, our own wife, husband, children, parents, will take away their head like a camel's head. Nobody will die for anyone. Nobody will die. The crying is only because I want to derive some pleasure from him. Whether it's a child or a parent, that's it. It's a very illusory happiness. We have to understand that. So Gajendra realized this. Gajendra saw, hey, where are all my friends? They're all backing away. They don't want to help me now. At this point he understands, Daiva Choditaha. So among all those elephants, I was chosen. I was chosen. Therefore, Krishna, you have chosen. Oh, he now remembers. Why? Pragjanmanyanusikshitam. Jajapa paramam japyam. Pragjanmanyanusikshitam. This is how he starts his prayers. Pragjanmani means what? My previous life. Whatever he has done in his previous life, it started manifesting. Anusikshitam. Pragjanmanyanusikshitam. Jajape paramam japyam. He has chanted this in his last life. Therefore, he is able to remember the Lord right now when the situation is everybody has abandoned him. The crocodile is pulling him inside. And what did he pray as? He prayed as Antarbahi. He prayed yesterday that Antarbahischa avritebhya yonya ichhami kalena na yasya viplavas tasyatma lokavarnasya moksham. He's saying this ignorance, body of ignorance, which is an elephant, and the ignorance that I have to take up this animalistic form of life, this ignorance will not be destroyed by time, my dear Lord. Kalena na yasya viplavas. Time destroys everything, correct? But this ignorance will not be destroyed, my dear Lord. Time cannot destroy this ignorance because it is very deep in my heart. I am covered. Avritebhya loka avaranasya. Therefore, my dear Lord, I am covered by ignorance. Therefore, I am an animal. What can I do your bhakti? I cannot do your bhakti, my Lord. I am an animal. With that consciousness, he is addressing the Lord with 7 adjectives in this word. Can you name what the adjectives are? Vishwashrijan, Vishwam, Avishwam, Vishwavedasam, Vishwatman, Ajam, Brahma. He's addressed the Lord with 7 names. Did you see that? So, therefore, my dear Lord, so aham, that elephant I am, but you are Vishwashrijan. It is said, I'm an animal, I cannot do bhakti. Therefore, I will only meditate the way I can meditate. How? I meditate on you because you are Vishwashrijan. What is Vishwashrijan? You are the creator of this material world. So it is very important to understand that all over Bhagavatam we see this flow. Many times devotees ask why we should worry about that the Lord is the creator. We will only focus on 10th canto, the sweet leelas of the Lord. The main point is we have to know the magnificence of the Lord. We have to know the magnanimity of the Lord because we are not on a stage of Raganuga platform yet. Because familiarity breeds contempt. Many a times I have seen videos in the YouTube where they are treating deities as their own child, but there is no rules and regulations followed, which is very absurd actually, which is very offensive in deity worship. They are taking Laddu Gopal anywhere, everywhere. They are putting Laddu Gopal in front of TV and saying, my Laddu Gopal will watch TV now. And what are they playing? Walt Disney cartoons. Where is that coming from? You know, we have to be careful that we have to, therefore we have to understand the magnanimity of the Lord. Otherwise, familiarity breeds contempt. We will take the deities as very, very familiar. So therefore, we have to walk on both sides. At one side, we have to respect. How does gopis sing? How do they start their their prayer? Jayati te dhikam janmana vraja shrayata indira shashvadatrahi. So, the gopis are praying that you will see antaratma dhrik. They are talking that you are a super soul. It's almost like Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But then the Acharya said, these gopis are actually Bhagavata gopis. We have other gopis who don't talk about the magnanimity of the Lord. So, like that. So, for us, we have to talk both. So, therefore, it is important to understand that the Lord is Vishwashrijam. He is the creator of this material universe. In fact, when Brahmaji in the 3rd canto prays for creative energy, he prays like this. Pashyami Vishwashrijam ekam avishvam atman. Avishva atman. He prays like this. Now, we'll meditate a few minutes. I want you all to contemplate on this word, Vishwam. This is a very interesting and a very beautiful verse, very closely related to the Lord's name, Vishnu. In the Mahabharata, there is a beautiful prayers of the Lord called Vishnu Sahasranamam. It is a prayer very significant because this prayer is not there in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and yet it is very important, and all other Vaishnava Sampradayas chant this, especially the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya or the Madhva Sampradaya. For them, when they chant the holy name, they chant this as a daily Parayanam. It becomes important because this was spoken in the battlefield of Kurukshetra by Bhishma Dev to Yudhishthira Maharaj. We have a chapter, Bhishma Dev's instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj in Bhagavatam. But what all he said, it's also there in Mahabharata. And one of the things he said was Vishnu Sahasranamam. And in that, the first name that Bhishma Dev says is Vishwam. Now, Prabhupada writes in the purport that to meditate that He is the Lord, He is the manifestation, He is the ingredients of this manifestation, and He becomes the manifestation, and He controls the manifestation, yet remains aloof from this manifestation, is a meditation that one has to do, or perceive the Lord, or conceive the Lord. The word conceive also is a very beautiful word, you see. What is conceive? We say mothers conceive children. That is putting child inside your womb, you know. In the same way, we should be able to conceive the Lord in our hearts. So Vishwam is a beautiful Shabda, a name of the Lord to conceive like this. I'll tell you why. We will talk 3 ways to meditate Vishwam, and then we will finish off there. And I'll tell you why it is important to meditate on Pratibuddhya. When the creation takes place, all of the jivas, where are they? Where are the jivas lying? We are lying in the abdomen of Mahavishnu. And what is our situation there? Yeah, we are in hibernate mode. Hibernation means we are in Shushupti stage. We are in deep sleep. We are not, what do you mean by deep sleep? We are not aware that we exist. We experience this every day. Is it not? When we go to sleep. When you are in deep sleep, you are not aware who you are. I am not aware I have got a male body. I am not aware I am living in St. Kilda. I am not aware I am living in Melbourne. I am not aware that I am living on this planet. Or nothing. Everything is switched off. Your mind does not work. Your body does not work. Your buddhi does not work. Only one thing remains. Aham, me alone remains at this stage. But that experience, therefore deep sleep is a very good experience. But experience happens in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, it is not a good experience. Vishwam, when the creation happens, that's why our activities in our daily, day-to-day life are reflective of how the creation takes place. When the creation takes place, the jivas enter the material universe. But before they enter, you know what happens? The Chaturvyuha incarnations of the Lord play a role here. First, the jivas are thrown to Aniruddha. And what does Aniruddha do? Aniruddha wraps the jiva and then gives it back to Pradyumna. And Pradyumna takes and gives him a particular yoni against which he takes birth. Now why does this happen? Now you think about it. You see a form. We see forms in this material universe. Right? When you hang a shirt for drying, what happens when you hang it in a hanger? It straightens up, is it not? So you see a form in this existence because Aniruddha, the Lord Aniruddha, becomes that form in every akara. Therefore, a form exists in this creation. We all exist as this form, the board, the wood, the tree. Everything has a form because the Lord sits there and becomes that form. Otherwise, there is no form in this existence. Because how can a body of clay stand? Because there is a reinforced concrete inside, and that concrete is the Supreme Lord. He is that Vishwam. So therefore, He enters everything and makes sure the structure stands as it is. So every form that you see has a form because He is Vishwam inside that form. Okay, that's one meditation. Second meditation is when the jivas are entering the yoni and they wake up. When they wake up to realize, when the child comes out of the womb of the mother and he realizes that I existed. Till then, he is not aware of his existence. The Lord which makes us aware of our existence is called Vishwam. Therefore, He is important. Because there are 3 states of existence, as I said, deep sleep, dream state, and wakeful state. Dream state is controlled by the Lord called Taijasa. Deep sleep is controlled by the Lord called Prajna. And wakeful state is controlled by the Lord called Vishwam. Therefore, Gajendra is praying to the Lord as Vishwam because, my dear Lord, wake me up, Pratibuddhya. Wake me up to the reality of this material existence. Wake me up to the reality of my eternal existence. Wake me up to the reality of my constitutional position. Therefore, it becomes important. Vishwam. Vishati anu iti Vishwam. Now, that is one way to meditate on the name of the Lord. And then, because it is He, now what does it mean that this whole manifestation is Vishwam, that the Lord Himself is manifested? This Vishwam is the Lord. What do you mean by that this universe is the Lord? Huh? What does it mean that everything comes from him? Okay, sorry, Prabhuji. You said? Correct. It is the manifestation of his energy. His energies, everything is manifested because of him. Everything is dependent on him. Therefore, he is the cosmic manifestation. It is not that he becomes matter. You have to understand that. He is not matter. Because the matter is dependent on him, therefore he is Vishwam. Right now, we are inside this temple. Correct? Are we taking shelter of this temple? Yes, we are inside this temple. The temple is our shelter. The Lord is inside the temple. Is the temple the shelter for the Lord? No, he is still the shelter for the temple. Even though he is inside the temple, he is still the shelter of that temple. This is Vishwam. This is what Krishna says in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagada avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshva avasthitaha. I am there in everything, Arjuna, but I am not dependent on it. That is still dependent on me. Even though I am inside it, I am also inside it, like this temple. Temple becomes my shelter. He is also inside it, but he is still the shelter of that temple. That is what he means. Therefore, he is inside the cosmic manifestation, and yet he is aloof, because he is still the shelter of everything. He is still the ashraya of everything. So that is the meditation. And then Avishwam. Avishwam means he is not matter. He is Vishwam and he is Avishwam. He is aloof. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan. So he's saying, for I nachamatstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram. I am inside everything, but everything is not inside me. What it means is, I am not supported by them, I am still their support. That is the meaning of Avishwam. And then he says Vishwa Vedasam. Vishwa Vedasam means he is omniscient. The other word for English is Vishwa Vedasam, means he knows everything. He knows everything. Right now, I don't know what's crawling on my back, on my own back. But the Lord is not like that. He knows what's happening inside every atom, no matter where the atom is. Therefore, he is Vishwa Vedasam. He knows everything. And then he is Ajam. Scientists have launched a satellite, a ship, a spaceship, which has traveled far beyond the Milky Way universe now. I don't know what's the name. It's Apollo or something, and is still continuing to travel. Because because of that space shuttle, they're able to know what is Saturn, what is Jupiter, because humans cannot travel that far. And the spaceship has traveled and taken pictures. But the Lord doesn't have to travel because He's everywhere. He's omnipresent and omniscient. Therefore, He's Vishwa Vedasam. He's Ajam. He's not born. We are also not born. So what's the difference between us and Him? We are also Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. He is also Ajam. What's the difference? Huh? Yes, because, what's the difference between our birth and His birth? Because we are born because of our karma. He comes because of His will. He comes Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan. I come Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I come because I want to come. We don't come because we want to come. We can't choose our birth date, you see. By the way, I want to be born on the January 1st, 1911. No, we can't do that. We have to come because our destiny, karma is ordained. But Krishna comes when He wants to come. That's the difference between us and Brahma. He is the Supreme Lord. So I'll just culminate here. What is the difference? What is our hope when we compare ourselves to Gajendra? We are actually very fortunate. The reason is, now these 7 names that Gajendra expressed in the Harinama Chintamani, Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes, there are 3 names or 3 categories of names of the Lord. Gaunanama and Mukhyanama. And there is a 3rd name also, type of names which will come. These names are called as Gaunanama, or the Guna, or the qualities of the Lord. Which is it? Vishwashrijam, Vishwam, and there is something called as Mukhyanama. And the Acharyas say there is a difference. The difference, why is there a difference? Because the Gaunanama, these names are connected to what? Are related to what? are related to this material cosmos, isn't it? It's all related to creation, the maintenance, the sustenance, the destruction of what? Of matter. Although the names of the Lords are transcendental, they are transcendental, but they are related to matter in one sense. So they are Gaunanama. So these names, although transcendental, cannot evoke love for the Lord. It can bring reverence to the Lord, magnanimity, which is also important. Therefore, we have to chant Gajendra's prayers. But the Mukhya Nama, like Nanda Nandana, Gopinatha, Madana Mohana, Radha Shama Sundara, when we chant these names, we can connect with the sweet pastimes of the Lord in person. Vishwam. How does Vishwam look like? We don't know. His energy, four-handed Vishnu form only we can imagine. Vishwashrijam. How does he look like? Vishnu form only. Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma, that's all. Where the chakra is, they keep changing. Chakra sometimes here, chakra sometimes here. But Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma only. Panir Mukundaha. But when we talk of Nanda Nandana, when we talk of Gopinatha, when we talk of Radha, Madana, Mohana, we can associate the beautiful Shama Sundara form of Krishna. Therefore they become Mukhya Nama. But our Acharyas did not stop there. They said, why any Mukhya Nama? Why not Madhurya Nama? And for us, they gave us Hare, Krishna and Rama. What does these three bijas of the mantras do? They instill Madhurya Prema in us. So, our hope is Jajapa Paramam Japyam Pragjanmanyanu Sukshitam. If we do this japa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jajapa Paramam Japyam, then Pragjanmanu Anusikshitam. When we do this siksha of chanting this very attentively without committing the offenses against the holy name, then we will also have some hope to see the Supreme Lord. And here, Gajendra did not go to see the Lord. The Lord came to see Gajendra. Imagine the position of Gajendra. So with this hope, I will stop here, that these prayers are very glorious. It is nice to chant them if we can learn them by heart. Sanskritam itself is very purifying, and to always meditate on that exalted personality, Gajendra, who has prayed for the Lord for his deliverance. I will stop here, and if there are any comments or questions or realizations, we can have for a few minutes. The mic is probably under charge. You can use this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. So every word what you said was so beautiful. Thank you so much. My question is now we are ISKCON, we are representing Prabhupada. So Prabhupada didn't teach this Vishnu Sahasranama or other things. So when we go somewhere to represent ISKCON temple as interfaith or somewhere when we go, so we have to only represent what Prabhupada taught mainly. Is that right? Thank you.
There's nothing wrong in, there is nothing wrong in representing what Prabhupada has ordained to us. But at the same time, we have to understand the time, place and circumstances. If we are in an interfaith assembly, and if there is another Sri Vaishnava or a Vaishnava Sampradaya who is chanting Vishnu Sahasranam, which is the Lord's names, we should be careful in presenting our philosophy so as to not deride their sadhana or their chanting in some way or the other. So we have to be careful in presenting our philosophy. Just have to be careful, that's all.
My question is, when we go, even when we represent, so we have to talk according to what Prabhupada.
Yes, of course. You can present that Prabhupada has given us this beautiful mantra, Vaidika mantra, Hare Krishna mantra, which delivers humankind and gives us Krishna prema.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
We just have to present without criticizing their practice. That we have to be careful. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. We see Gajendra throughout his life. He wasn't a devotee, but at the time of death, he remembered Krishna. And he remembered Krishna. Krishna came and even gave him the benediction that by reciting his prayers, like anyone can come back to Godhead. But we often hear whatever we perform throughout our life. I mean, if we perform devotional service, then we can go back home, back to Godhead. So we see also like how do we understand? Because we see in the prayers of like Prahlad Maharaj, Kunti Maharani, Bhishma Dev, they were all devotees throughout their entire life. But still there were no benedictions given for their prayers. So how do we understand?
What was the question? I think if I have understood the question properly, Bhishma Dev, they were all devotees, but they didn't get a benediction. Gajendra was not a devotee, apparently, but he still got a benediction like this.
Gajendra was enjoying throughout his like entire elephant life. He came into Trikuta, started destroying everything, but still at the time of death he remembered Krishna, and Krishna came and gave the benediction for his prayer.
Yeah, maybe Prabhuji would like to add something. She's saying the same thing, that Gajendra was not a devotee apparently. He was enjoying his life as an animal. How did he get that benediction of praying and the Supreme Lord delivered him? That's her question. Whereas Bhishma Dev did not get that benediction, or Kunti Maharani did not get that benediction or liberation in that sense. Yeah? Okay. The Phalashruti, okay.
What's that?
The Lord did not come and personally glorify that, yes, if someone chants Kunti Devi's prayers, you will get liberated. But here the Lord is saying specifically that for the Gajendra's prayers. Why is that? That's the question.
Well, one of the underlying messages or teachings, I guess, of the pastime of Gajendra is that he got the benefit of devotional service performed in a previous lifetime, even though he must have done something pretty inappropriate to become born as an elephant, right? So there are multiple lessons to be learnt from Gajendra's pastimes and the potency of bhakti, right? Right. How did he get the body of an elephant? Okay, he was a king of the elephants, so he's a pious elephant, but he must have been some impiety to take birth again as an elephant, because ordinarily, if you're a devotee, we're taught Trayato, Nihabhikramana, no loss or diminution. Right? So, and that's underlined by the pastimes of Gajendra, because he was a devotee, and then in a time of distress, he remembered his past devotional service. He remembered his relationship with Krishna, and that could only happen because of previous pious activities, devotional activities, right? So what's not taught in the Bhagavatam, what's not stated is how he became an elephant, because that's not so important. And we're all in the material world, and very often people say, how did we get here? Prabhupada says, well, don't worry about how you got here, just get out. That's more important, right? So the teaching of Gajendra's pastimes, one of them is that devotional service is so powerful that even if you've committed many offences, or you've ended up as an animal, and we see that with Bharat Maharaj also, right? Then the potency of bhakti will elevate you out of that. So there's no loss. Even if that devotion to Krishna doesn't manifest until a birth away, you still get the benefits, right? So why? Don't know, I think. Because the Bhagavatam doesn't say, right? It doesn't say, here's what he did to become an elephant. And even it's mentioned that his name is Indrajumna, but we were discussing this the other day. It's a different Indrajumna to the Indrajumna Maharaj who installed Lord Jagannath. It's a different Indrajumna, right? And if we look at the meaning of, what's the meaning of Indrajumna in Sanskrit? What does it mean? King? What's the Jumna bit mean? Do you know? Pundits could look it up, right? Find out. And they'll tell us something about Gajendra, right? So, and here's the interesting thing too. Gajendra describes all of the qualities, or not all, because they're unlimited, but so many of the qualities and characteristics of the Lord. Right? And this is a prayer that he chanted in his previous lifetime. Right? And one of the classes that I gave, Prabhupada says, we should learn to chant mantras. And he says, well, obviously the Hare Krishna mantra, but he says other mantras as well. And Prabhupada's given us, you know, Chintamani, and so many verses, right? So, no, there's just so much. There's so much in this past, you know, as there is in any of the Bhagavatam pastimes. But at least one of the takeaways that I kind of cherish is the fact that our devotional service will never go in vain, right? And even if there isn't anybody clapping on the sidelines telling us what a good fellow we are, Krishna's observing everything that we do, and you know, at the appropriate time, he will elevate, you know, pick us up, right? So, yeah. So the answer, I think, to Sibya's question is we don't know. Why did that happen to this Maharaj Indrajumna, that he became the king of elephants? And you know, in one sense, we're like the king of elephants. We walk around a place like we own the joint. We think we're enjoying, you know. We look at the girls and we think, oh, she's nice. So we're not that much different. But we're being engaged in devotional service. And so, and which is one of the reasons why we should honour and respect all of the devotees, because the potency of bhakti, the power of devotional service, and the association of the devotees, even if it's just a little devotee, right, so-called little devotee, or even a fallen devotee, is powerful. Because even a fallen devotee can give us Krishna. Look at Gajendra is giving us all of this learning, right? You don't get that learning from elephants usually, right? When I was working in the Adelaide Zoo, I'd made friends with the elephant, right? But if you didn't do what she wanted to do, she'd whack you, hit you with her trunk and whatever, right? So all I learnt from the elephant was, you're not much different to me. Just, you know, get upset by small things and want to throw your weight around, right? So, yeah, we can learn and we can benefit from the association of every devotee, even if they're elephants. And look, he gives so much prayer and so much learning, which is really a feature of the Bhagavatam. Why Gajendra is such a special personality, in that, you know, and this is after Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. We now get Gajendra's prayers. So it's very interesting. And we get so many prayers. Bhagavatam's full of prayers. Kunti, you name it. Or you name them. So many. So yeah. Gajendra, what an amazing devotee. And of course that's why it's in the Bhagavatam. But the Bhagavatam doesn't tell us why. Well, it does, because there's all that, it all comes out, his bhakti comes out. And so that's, why. To demonstrate the power of devotion, even in the heart of a devotee who manifests atato, what is it? He's in distress and it comes out. Ato atati jigyasu, yeah. So he's not actually a pure devotee in many respects. He's in distress. And he obviously not a pure devotee, otherwise he would be an elephant looking at the female elephants. But that's funny, isn't it? Because, he's a devotee and his prayers all come out, even if there's a tinge of material association. So it's basically to encourage us. If there's a reason why he's taken birth as an elephant, it's to encourage us. How's that sound?
Thank you so much, Anil Prabhu. I think we are... Yes, Prabhu.
I want to ask about Canto 3. It's about how to understand Bhagavatam on that platform about time frame and time delusion and other universes. So like you and Prabhuji were saying about Indradyumna Maharaj. We know that there is one Indradyumna Maharaj of Jagannath Puri who went to Brahma Loka and he spent thousands of years over there. And Gajendra is another Indradyumna where he has to fight with a crocodile for 1,000 years. So these 1,000 years are based on human life or in that particular Loka?
I'm not sure. It has to be the Loka in that particular time.
The size of the mountain that he's on,
The yojanas
the
is...
size of the earth.
It's massive mountain.
This is a planet where a mountain the size of the earth can sit. So how big is that place?
Okay,
It's
another
massive.
question to that. Srila Vyasa,
Thakur says, when he's explaining the second canto commentary, that unless specifically mentioned, any time scales in the Bhagavatam referred to are to be understood in the human terms. So when Lord Brahma meditated for 100 years, he has a lifetime of 100 years before the creation. So he'll spend his entire life. When will he do the creation? That 100 years is the 100 years of human time scale, unless specifically mentioned that this happened on that planet's time scale.
There's a specific Kala Tattva chapter in the third canto which you can study.
It's not an ordinary elephant.
So we'll stop here. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavansam Shri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathantam Svam Sadivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.